So Simon's can tell us a little bit about the collection. I mean, from what I've read of your reviews site, I mean, it's great to have them, but it's a mixed bag, both in terms of how you felt revisiting the films and in terms of the 4K. But generally, at least they get the first one right.
Generally, the first one is the best one, isn't it? I mean, this is the set here for those of you watching at home. For those of you who are not, I'm now showing you the box. Comes in a nice little slipcase like so.
It's very thin. I noticed that picking it up today.
Just like me.
It's very thin. No, but I mean, it's nice, isn't it?
Because it is, because there's no Blu-rays in here. It's all 4Ks. So you've got 1, 2, 3, and 4.
I'm gonna come.
And then on there
later.
you've got a blue.
Oh, and they're not stacked either.
Because I like that, but they've at least got a few extras. I am happy about this 4K disc. They've got extras, right?
They do. Well, the only one. Okay, so let's go into it, shall we? Rocky, the first disc, Rocky, does have extras on it on the 4K disc. It's got 3 commentaries, and Rocky 2 has no extras on it. Rocky 3 has no extras on it. Rocky 4 has a great extra, which is the second cut of Rocky 4, the recut version, Rocky versus Drago. So could you call that an extra? Probably.
Yeah.
So you actually get 2 films on that. So this is a 5-film set, not a 4-film set. It even says on the front here, look, right down the bottom there, includes that. And one of the, I mean, I suppose the star extra of the whole set is the only new extra that is available, is the making of documentary, which is very, very entertaining watching, all filmed during lockdown. So there's only 2 people in it, which is 3 people if you include the cameraman, which is Sly Stallone himself, the guy doing all the digital manipulation on the film, which was very interesting to watch what they can do with it, because this must have been scanned digitally, because he was manipulating it, turning the film left, right, panning around, angling it. Yeah, just, you know, what they can do, zooming in, zooming out, color time, all that stuff, all in the digital realm. Brilliant. And listening to his thought processes of why he feels he wanted to go back to it, I found it very interesting. He said he now feels he's a better filmmaker, that he doesn't make films anymore. Very, very telling that he's now out of it. I mean, of course, he still acts, but he doesn't actively make films in the way that a director makes films anymore, which I thought was very interesting.
He's too busy having fallouts with other people who do make movies. So, you know, he hasn't got time to make his own movies.
Could be.
And tinkering, because following Rocky 4, he's going to do, well, the rumor is he's going to do 5 and 6.
Let's be honest, 5 was the only one that needed it. Justice for Paulie's robot. That's all I'm going to say.
Get out of it.
Interestingly enough, Simon, that documentary is currently streaming for free on Amazon Prime. So if people are yet to pick up the set, you can go and watch that.
I noticed tonight, actually, scanning through, you can actually, all 4 films have just been, or I don't say how long they've been there, but they were certainly on Prime. So I don't think they're in 4K, though. I didn't go into it that far.
No. But you're right. The documentary is interesting. The number of times you see Stallone going, "Look at that shot! It's ridiculous. How on earth did that get in there? Who okayed that?" And you heard the voice behind the camera going, "So how did you miss it? How did you miss it?" And he'd just go, "Yeah, I just didn't see it." It's like, were you watching this film as the director, the star, and the writer back in the 80s, or was it just a cocaine mist, Mr. Stallone?
I just think he was trying to make. If you listen to that documentary, he was trying to make a film to appease 500 people who would be dealing with the film, not for the public. He seemed to be making it for the studio rather than making it for himself. Perhaps he either didn't have the energy, the power, or the gravitas to make it for himself, which is, I found very interesting for him to go back so long after.
And Kaz, these aren't like, oh, look, there's a little person right in the background that's out of whack. This is the fact that the whole commentator for the final fight, he's going, why is the commentator British? Why is the commentator British? Who put that on there? And everyone's going, you did. And he's just questioning it, going, why? It makes no sense. Well, that's what everyone else thought. Sly.
Yeah. I mean, it was almost as if he'd never seen it. The way he was talking about it. It's very, very interesting.
It was really fun to see him just sitting there, and I found it was more his thoughts on it, because it's less about the changes that he made, because obviously I think the changes that he made were all a bit a bit obvious, but it was just watching him watch the film and then question various bits. It was fascinating to just sit and watch it.
Yeah, it really was.
Sorry.
It really was. And at the end of it, when he was sitting in his own home theatre and he finished it and he got up and he says, "That's the film it should have been." I kind of agree with him. I think it's a far, far superior film. Free from all that gump at the beginning. It gives it a lot more heart, a lot more emotion.
Paulie's robot.
I vastly prefer it. I think it's a lot toned down. I mean, it's got cheesy. It's got a.
It's still full of the montages.
Cheesy quality to the original that is nostalgically valuable, but the new one is a better film.
By far.
It's just. I mean, I don't dispute the nostalgic thing, Mark. You can cross your head. I get it. But the new one is a better film, like a more professional movie, more mature movie. And I don't think Rocky IV was ever supposed to be that, but I'm kind of glad to see that version. Like a grown-up did that.
Blah, 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 blah.
I think Rocky goes back to being Rocky, which I like, because he wasn't in Rocky III. He goes back to being Rocky. And there's that emotional connection with the characters, which are missing, again, from Rocky III. And certainly from the theatrical of Rocky IV. There's no kind of heart behind it all. They try to do it, but I just don't think they get it. I just think the new cut is just vastly superior.
So how many of us, before he announced he was making a new cut, ever sat there and went, "Do you know what's missing from Rocky IV? Emotion and heart." Yeah.
I never liked
Said no one
version.
Ever.
I never liked it. I never hated it. I never liked it. 3 I could get along with, but 4 I never liked. I just thought it was a nonsense film.
Set the internet alight.
It was a nonsense film.
It's no Dog Soldiers, is it?
It was a film. It was a film that decisively ended the Cold War.
And that's it. Damn right. That's all you needed.
That's it. So just to summarize on the actual discs.
On the discs.
We're saying Rocky 1, 2, and 3 look great. Rocky 4.
Okay, no, not quite. No, Rocky 1 looks brilliant. There's obviously spent the most time on that film. But I have to say, look, all the films. It does say on everywhere that I've tried to find, and on the PR bump, it says they've been remastered in 4K. That's the words they use, remastered in 4K. Nowhere does it say restoration. Nowhere does it say they've gone back to the registered film negative, rescanned it. None of that. It just says remaster. So these could be masters from, I don't know, 10 years ago, perhaps. Who knows? Whilst they look great, they could probably look better. So, because if they'd gone back to the original screen negative, done it properly as these things normally are, then I think it could have been absolutely spectacular. However, I think Rocky looks very, very good. It's got it still looks like film, which is great, and it's obviously had the most love in previous restorations. Sound is I preferred the mono to the or the down mixed stereo or whatever it's supposed to be. I preferred the 2-channel as opposed to the 5.1 channel. The Rocky 2, the picture is on par, not quite as good, but very, very close to. Again, I think I preferred the 5.1 to the 2 to the monotone track on that one. Again, it's supposed to have some kind of audio issue. If there is, it doesn't spoil the enjoyment of the film, so I wouldn't even consider that. Rocky 3, I think, has actually been treated the worse. There's some. I mean, I don't mind grain. I'm very, very happy to see film grain on a transfer, because it gives it that filmic quality, makes it look good. Makes it look alive. But there are times in Rocky 3 when it just looks horrendous. I mentioned in the review that there's a very, very dark scene. I can't remember exactly what actually happened in the scene, but it's incredibly dark, and it looks like there's a big star fill going on, because you've got the HDR is picking up on the grain and making it shine, which clearly shouldn't have been there. I mean, if you're going to have grain and darkness, it shouldn't be sparking at you. And there's the scene on the beach where Rocky looks clean, fine, brilliant. Adrian looks like someone's got a paintbrush and painted all over the screen. It looks really quite awful. So that could have done with just a little bit of a little bit of looking off, a little bit more love. So that's probably the worst picture of them all. Rocky 4, by contrast, is the best. This is the theatrical version. Is by far the best looking picture on the set. It's fantastic. Beautiful colors. The grain looks brilliant, and its detail is immense. It's fantastic. But when you come to the Drago cut, they've narrowed the screen, so it's 2.35 to 1. That in itself isn't a bad, so it's reframed, but they've ramped up the old DNR, and that's immediately obvious, because I mean, it would be even if you hadn't just. I mean, I had just watched all 4 films, one after each other. So it's immediately obvious to me, but you would anyway. The grain is practically gone. Some people like that. I think it kind of kills the picture a bit. And there was one scene, the montage in the car when he's driving away from Adrian, where he looks, all the details gone. It's a bit of a shame, really. So I think that's probably the worst picture, based on it's no longer a natural filmic image, right? Yeah. Some people will think that's the best picture because it's a lot cleaner than the others. Yeah. And the sound on the Drago cut is, again, by far the best. The 5.1 is very, very detailed, very, very good. Nice heavy bass. It's really, really good. Poor old Mark there. Thank God he turned his mic off, eh? And then you've got the extras disc. Hear that. Then you got the extras disc, which most of the stuff is from years and years and years ago. It's all SD stuff, upscaled to 1080p, so it looks a bit naff. The 4.3 stuff, the 1.33 to 1 stuff, is squashed this way, squashed horizontally, so it looks unnaturally stretched for some weird and wonderful reason. Everything in 1.78, that's all fine. And then you've got, obviously, we've already spoken about it, the making of documentary, which is phantasmic. I mean, on the whole, it's a pretty good set, actually, to get all the best films. I mean, I don't care about 5. I would have liked to have seen Rocky Balboa. I thought that was quite a good film, actually.
Yes, I'd agree. Really... I mean, that and his Rambo were a real turnaround for him in that.
Yeah, the latest. Yeah, I think so. Sort of, he's been out of favour. Perhaps I don't know what he sort of disappeared off the
practically straight to video.
Yeah, but they were certainly. I mean, Rocky Balboa and that because he certainly recut Rambo, didn't he? There were 2 cuts of that.
He did, yeah.
Second version was again a better film.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, interesting.
I think that is I think that's a rush job to get it out in time for Creed 3. I don't know. I'm not gonna buy that. It's half the story. I mean,
it's half the story.
Well, it isn't. I mean,
there's nothing like some street fighting boxers.
say what you like about 5 and 6, but let's be honest, they should be in there.
Well, 6 certainly. I don't know whether I've got any time for 5.
But it's part of the story, though, isn't it? And really? I mean, I'd love to know the rationale for them not being. Is it because if it's because they're working on alternate versions, then
that's what they say.
Well, that's fine. Then I'll buy the 6th film one when it comes out with all the films in. And I mean, the internet is alight in various sectors over some of the audio issues. Apparently, the issue is on 2 and 3. It's a holdover from the PAL days. So there's a 4% speed up on the soundtrack, which means everything's pitched slightly higher. And apparently, people who are incredibly familiar with the music and stuff like that, it's immediately noticeable.
I've never owned the film.
I would ever notice it, but I mean that though, it just sounds like there's. How does something like that happen? But anyway,
yes,
yeah. I mean, there is that. I mean, it does seem like a quick a quick release, like I
Yeah.
say, remastered in 4K rather than any kind of significant work done on any of the films.
I mean, to be fair, it sounds like from what you said, Si, that at least the pictures seem to be pretty solid.
Yeah, they are
for the most part, and and maybe
they're certainly better than anything that's been released. Before, ever, without a shadow of a doubt.
So as seems to be part of the course with a 4K release these days, it's swings and roundabouts, isn't it?